What's up, everybody? Dax McClellan here, and I got my boy Levi right here. He's a student that enrolled into the Realistic Portrait System course last year and found awesome success with the course, and such epic success that I invited him to come work with me in my tattoo shop out here in Utah. So we brought him from California to Utah, and he's been booming ever since. Really awesome dude, awesome artist, and I wanted to share his story with you guys because I think you guys will really like it and you get some value out of it. So I'm not going to steal his shine. We're going to let him talk now. So Levi, explain to these guys kind of where you were at in life, you know, some of the struggles you were going through when you first, you know, heard of the Realistic Portrait System course.
Definitely. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to just say how grateful I am to be in the position I am in my life. And with that said, I had learned how to tattoo in the penitentiary. And so that actually, even though I was one of the best on the yard that I was at, that actually hindered my professional growth when I got out. Because penitentiary tattooing is nothing like professional tattooing. Right. And I had just picked up a little $100 kit offline with the Chinese made, machines, and I got onto YouTube and really, started to learn how to how to use it, how to tune the gun. I didn't do none of that, we make homemade rotaries inside. So anyhow, with that said, my art, wasn't up to par where I felt it was at, and it had to do with just not even knowing how to use a machine mainly, but I kept pushing on. And I came to a hard point because I moved out to California, coming out of the penitentiary to really change my life. And I came to a point where, I ended up on the streets for a moment. And with that said, I came to a crossroads within myself, and it had to do, a question came up where I looked at myself and was like, am I going to continue tattooing? I had literally considered stopping tattooing because I didn't see no personal growth in that, at that moment. But when looking back at my life, I realized how tattooing was a representation of my life, and my art was a representation of my life. And my art at that time was very low, just like I was very low. And, thank God I kept tattooing, and thank God for my left hand because it kept me afloat long enough to really reconsider what I wanted to be with tattooing in my life. And I had been following you on Facebook, and you had came out with the Realistic Portrait System. And I remember when I first started following you, I never really saw portraits, and then you busted out portraits that were just so crispy, you know what I'm saying? And I've always been one of them to really jump out there anyways. 8 months out of the penitentiary, I had tried my first portrait. And I mean, it came out good. Everybody liked it, but it wasn't nothing near like one of Dax's portraits. And it wasn't as, the dimensions wasn't fully there. I could have worked the tones better. I didn't even know how to work gray wash at that time. There was just a lot of things. And so, I was living in Central California in one of the most parts of the town. And I remember you coming out with a deal that was $100 a month, to take the course. And I was like, man, I can come up with $100 a month. You know what I'm saying? Just from my tattooing alone, I could save $100 a month. And that's what I did. I just kept putting a little bit of money away. So that way I had that $100, at the end of the month. And
it's like one extra tattoo.
Exactly.
Anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that, I feel. And it's truly if you want it, And another thing is at that moment, I looked at your tattooing and, I looked at your course and I was kind of skeptical. Do I want to put this money in and this time? And I'm like, right now, luckily, as I look back, I was in such a low point that I was all in at that point. I really had no other avenues, I felt. And so when I got into your course, just right off the gate, my drawing abilities of portraits flipped almost instantly. I'm a fast learner, you know what I mean? So when I was able to learn your system just on the drawing end of it, and I was able to utilize the drawing techniques that you just showed at the start of your course, my drawings they went from cool to amazing, and definitely awesome. Did you want to ask me?
So you spoke a little bit about kind of Modesto, you said, right?
Yeah.
What was your living situation like when that was there? You said you were at a low point. Explain a little bit about that.
Man, it was one step up from the car, but I was on my boy's couch, man. And, I'm gonna keep 100. We lived in Central Modesto, and it's so poor over there. You're sleeping with the cockroaches for reals, and I just knew I had to, I've never been in that point in my life. So I knew I had to do something. There had to be something. I had to invest in myself somehow. I had to really look out for number one. And your course worked for me. It worked. That was just a direction I was going, and I wanted to go. And I didn't want to let my tattooing go. And I wanted to be somebody in tattooing. That really mattered to me.
Awesome. So, in regards to like your progress, number one, when did you start seeing? You said you started seeing drawing results right away. When exactly, from the moment that you signed up, when did you see some results in your drawings and stuff, in your tattoos? And then when did you start doing great portraits?
Well, initially, like within the first, week, because you came out with modules. That's how you came out, and within the first 2 weeks, my drawing was already increased. And I've always felt like whatever I can draw, I can tattoo, and that's why like my initial portrait was kind of flat and undimensional, because I was drawing it in the same way I would tattoo it prison style. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't. So your system had taught me a new way to draw a portrait, and that's what I'm trying to say. And that actually gave me a new way to tattoo. And it changed everything, it changed everything for me. And then it was about, I was attempting portraits and they were coming out good. But when the first portrait I did excellent was about 60 days, 2 months after I started your course.
Nice. And it's an 8-week course. So basically right at the end of the 8 weeks, you kind of seen, awesome results.
Yes. And though it's an 8-week course, we all have personal things in our lives. So it's like I was a lot of busy. So it wasn't as if, it took up to the 8 weeks, but I know I could have knocked that portrait out probably sooner than that. You know what I mean? But it's just with the everyday lives and things that are going on. It took up to 8 weeks to do that one portrait that I really liked. But prior to that, my tattoo increased all the way up the board, because you can use them same techniques that you learn in your system for actually every other piece of art, and it really helped out.
Okay, and explain a little bit about like how much like time, in that 8 weeks, how much time did you like put in per day? Like did you have to full on go like all day to do this stuff, or how much hours per day, or how much hours per week?
Man,
how did you feel when you did awesome portraits, when you start seeing results?
Well, first off, I only put about, honestly, just because of where I was at and having to, was just in that midst of struggle, a lot of my time was taken up, but I only put in about 3 hours a week. And I think you were like 4 hours a week, at least 4 hours. And I was on myself about that. I'm like, man, I can't even give myself 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? And so I was only putting in about 3. There was some weeks where I'd go a little harder, you know what I mean, to put a little bit more in. And I worked through a lot of frustrations, but, it's all part of the game. And, after that, how did I feel?
Yeah.
Man, how did I feel? I've made people cry off a portrait. I've done a portrait and people started crying. So with that said, that made me feel like I done affected someone's life for reals, because that affected my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in regards like to this portrait course, who it's for, like obviously like I'm not going to say it's for 100% of the tattoo artists out there, because there's some people that just, they're in the wrong mindset and they don't want to learn, but for the people out there that do want to learn, who would you say this course is for?
Man, I'd say this course is for anybody that's like me, anybody that wants to step their life up to the next level and wants to really invest in themselves. I think this course is for any young tattoo artist that maybe can't get an apprenticeship, and people might be putting them down or telling them they can't be a tattoo artist, or anybody that won't give up belief in themselves and they're artists, and they really want to pursue something beyond them. Because if you become an expert portrait artist, trust me, people are going to know who you are.
Okay, now obviously, you said if they can do it, they don't have to have an apprenticeship. Now, I know you didn't have an apprenticeship, but in apprentices phase, like say they're getting a professional apprenticeship, what do you think this will do in combined, like fused with that professional apprenticeship?
Well, I mean, the main thing about apprenticeship is really having to work in a shop environment. You know, your tattooing skills. A lot of times they want to teach you how to tattoo, or I'm not exactly sure. I never took an apprenticeship, but I know that through your course and the step procedures, that would take your apprenticeship from just like apprenticeship to like, man, you're really talented for real.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, and like I said, you know, Levi, he took the course. You know, he got results, he took the actions, and he's doing portraits. He's making people fucking cry. And
In a good way. In a good way.
in a good way. And now he's in Utah, in my shop, working alongside with me, building his clientele at an extreme rate, doing well for himself. And with that being said, you know, I want to get to you guys. You guys watching, okay? I truly believe that most tattoo artists out here can do that. Out everywhere in the world, you know, as long as you can speak English and you understand what I'm saying, you follow the course, I believe you can do that. Because a lot of people say that you have to practice, you know, drawing portraits for years. You know, that is not the case. You know, this is a clear, you know, understanding right here. A lot of people say you have to be naturally talented. That is not the case. You know, that's a limiting belief. And, you know, a lot of people just say that, you know, you have to get a mentor. You have to actually go get an apprenticeship and spend thousands of dollars and years of time learning how to do portraits. Well, I mean, Levi's prime example that is not the case. So, you know, those are limiting beliefs. And so, you know, I believe that if you can do a tattoo, you can learn how to do portraits with my system. It's just a matter of, are you ready to do it yet? So, basically, yeah, one second. Basically, you know, this kind of comes down to, you know, there's a lot of people, including me, including Levi, I've talked to him, you kind of have a fear of ruining a portrait, you know. And this is no different than the first tattoo that you did. That's why I say that anybody that can tattoo can learn how to do portraits. Because, you know, think about when you first started a tattoo, okay? Before you did that tattoo, the same situation arose. You were probably kind of nervous, you know, you kind of feared ruining the portrait, or excuse me, ruining the tattoo. And once you did the tattoo, your confidence kind of got sparked. You know, you felt it. You felt like, look, maybe I can do this. Like, maybe I can make a career out of this. And it started to get easier and easier. And that's the same thing with portraits. Sometimes we just need a little bit of a push in the right direction with the right knowledge, the right system. And boom, we're doing portraits. And the good thing, the fucking awesome thing about doing portraits is when you can do portraits, you become the most trusted artist in the shop, you know, with any type of style. Whether you know how to do that style or not, in the client's eyes, they perceive the people with portraits to be a little more advanced tattoo artists than the people who don't do portraits. And so, not only are you going to be able to do portraits if you join the course, but you're also going to be trusted, which means a lot more clients are going to be able to, you know, trust you to do their tattoos. So you're going to make more money, you're going to get more clients, and you're going to take your skills to the next level. You're going to build your confidence with everything as well. You know, it's no, like, secret that portraits are one of the hardest art forms to do. And when you can do them, you become confident. It empowers your confidence level at a whole nother level. And so, with any other art form, it's going to make it easier. Any other tattoo is going to make it easier. And so, that's what I wanted to share in this video. Right now I got about 70 tattoo artists that are all kind of in Levi's situation, all improving their skills and learning how to do portraits. And with that being said, you know, I'm going to close off this video with one question for you. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? Because if you are, this portrait course is for you. It's a one-of-a-kind portrait course. There's nothing like it in the world. And we are enrolling. So, if you want to learn how to tattoo portraits using my proven system in an 8-week course, step by step from 0 to 100, there's going to be a button around this video. I'm not sure if it's going to be below or to the right, to the left, but there's going to be a button where you can either subscribe or you can purchase the course. And there's affordable options for you guys to make sure that you guys, if you're serious, can afford this and can develop your skills over time. Do it now. That's all I'm going to say is do it now. This is a wake-up call. How many times do people come into your shop and they ask you to do a portrait? And because you can't do it, they go to the next artist. You know, we as artists are supposed to help our clients at the highest level. So if you can't do portraits, you're not helping your clients at the highest level. And I want to help you do that. So that's what I created this course for, is for you guys. And get in now. Peace.
Peace.